I'm going to talk a little bit about a program that monitors flooding around Jamaica Bay using photography. If you want to contribute to that, you can take pictures of flooding and contribute to the project. Go to your apps button thing on your phone, your apps app, and look for an app called My Coast. It's all one word. Download it, and you can start taking photos of flooding along with us. You can join us. Okay. Great. With that done, I'll hop into things. I have a lot of slides, so I'm probably going to talk quickly. Okay, so first of all, I'm the Coastal Resilience Specialist for Jamaica Bay for New York Sea Grant. I should say everything I do is in partnership with the Science and Resilience Institute at Jamaica Bay. Shout out to Brett. That's where my office is at Brooklyn College. Come find me. But what is New York Sea Grant? We bring science to the shore through research, extension, and education. We are a federal university partnership through SUNY and NOAA. So in New York, we operate through Stony Brook and Cornell. And I'm an extension associate, which means that I bring community needs into the conversation when research is happening about the shorelands and the waterways in Jamaica Bay. I said that. Cool. So I'm going to talk about two projects today. One is called the Community Flood Watch Project, and the other is the Jamaica Bay Flood Fellowship Program. We have a lot of flood fellows in the room today, which is really exciting and makes me feel right at home. So first of all, the Community Flood Watch Project emerged from the reality that many communities around Jamaica Bay are experiencing so much tidal flooding at much higher rates than before. That's increasing exponentially, as we know. This is, you can't really see this chart, but it's just saying that by the year 2050, we'll have 85 high tide flood days, and right now we have about 25, so. The Community Flood Watch Project asks residents and everyone else, anyone who happens to be observing flooding, sunny day flooding, rain-driven flooding, any kind of flooding around the bay and actually all around New York now, to take a photo and submit it to a publicly accessible archive that's used by researchers, policymakers, and residents as they are developing projects and informing their own decisions. So this is how it works. I'm gonna be so fast, but basically I send out a forecast email and I try to put flooding in local context. So I can tell you exactly what depth of flood on a street corner in Hamilton Beach was the last time the tide was at a 7.9 foot in an LLW. And I will say that in the forecast email. And it's useful because that lets you know whether or not you can drive in and out of the neighborhood in a lot of places around the bay. This is a slide about My Coast. You can't see the QR code. Did you search for the My Coast app on your phone?
Yes.
My Coast, New York. Sorry. Thank you.
My Coast, New York?
Yes.
Coast.
Okay, so I'm gonna just bop through here. So one thing that we do with these photos is it allows us to really visualize what projections about increased flooding might mean. So these photos are sort of demonstrating, when we have a high tide that's 1.3 feet above the regular high tide, which is what MHHW means if you're sitting in the front and you can see the screen. What does that look like? It looks like there is about a foot of bay water in the street, right? So it helps to understand what it means when I look at like a bar chart that's telling me we're gonna have 85 days with street flooding, right? What does that actually look like in my neighborhood? And then we've been putting those photographs into conversation with other data sources, notably quantitative data from flood sensors across the city, I'll highlight that in a second, but also with 311 data, so information if you call to report flooding in your neighborhood, and showing portraits of flooding at the neighborhood level through these neighborhood flood reports. If you're interested in that, again, come find me. So partner project for us is the FloodNet NYC sensing project, which is monitoring, hyper-locally monitoring flooding at flood-prone locations across the city. They are installing ultrasonic sensors that are measuring the depth below them within a 6-inch radius in these flood-prone places. So this is how I get that information that I was talking about earlier. On the corner of this street and this street, there was 6 inches of water the last time there was a high tide at, this height. Keep an eye out on your tide charts. Keep an eye out on the forecast. That sort of thing. And this project grew out of community collaborations around Jamaica Bay with people who were concerned about flooding. And Brett is the PI on that project. Shout out to Brett again. Okay, and I'm going to just bop to the other project that I wanted to highlight. And I'm focusing on these two because everything that Sea Grant does is in partnership with people and communities. I see you, thanks. As we've been hearing throughout the day, a lot about ecosystem management, a lot about projects, but in little snippets of the conversation, we've also heard, oh, this project wouldn't be happening if it weren't for, the Wetland Fellows. This project wouldn't be happening if we didn't have community support in the place where we're implementing it. We need to figure out how to talk to people about, the changes that are happening around Jamaica Bay and what it might look like later and what we should do now. And so all of the work that Sea Grant does is sort of at that intersection. So this next project is called the Jamaica Bay Community Flood Fellowship Program. And what we do with the Flood Fellowship Program is bring community leaders from across the Jamaica Bay watershed together to talk about exactly what I was just talking about, right? What flooding looks like, how it's changing, what kinds of solutions we might be able to build together. And so we bring in expert speakers, but most importantly, people from different neighborhoods are able to talk to each other about solutions that worked where they live, or that change things where they live, and how the problem looks where they live, and then we get to learn from each other because people are experts in their own communities and they know more than a researcher who's working in isolation on a single. Opportunities are needed for connecting like this across neighborhood lines. So just like we're all together in this room, we need to be doing this more often. And again, come to that event on June 28th at the Idlewild Environmental Science Center. Please come. I would love to see you there. There's a flyer up here with a QR code. Again, if you have questions, you can ask me. Oh, and we made a new website. You can't see it, you can't use the QR code. It's all about flooding. Come ask me about it. It puts all of this data into context. It's where you go to get those neighborhood portraits of flooding in different neighborhoods everywhere in the city. And thank you. I think I'm on time.